Hey guys, my name is Emma Tuttle. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is the final part of the Shooting in Manual series, and we are going to talk about ISO. In terms of how ISO works, a lower ISO, which could be 200, 400, maybe 800, is going to mean that you are letting in less light. So you can darken your image by lowering your ISO. It also means that you're going to have less grain in your photo. Now, a higher ISO, on the other hand, means that you're going to be letting in more light, which is awesome, but also means more grain. And I don't mean like a little bit grain. I mean like a lot of bit grain, like a lot of grain, depending on what you do. And if you have an older camera or a less refined sensor, you're going to find that you're going to get a lot more grain sooner, earlier with your ISO. So when I first started shooting on my Canon Rebel, I found that 1600 ISO was pretty rough and 3200 was really rough. But now I'm shooting on an EOS R6, and those ranges, while grainy, are not near as bad as they were on my earlier camera. So that's like partially technology changing and improving, partially a quality issue. So that's something to know, is that a better camera can sometimes produce less grain at higher levels. It's why I can shoot at such a high ISO on this camera, whereas on my previous cameras that was not an option. So it does come at a cost whenever you raise that ISO. And you can sometimes digitally fix that, sometimes not, it just depends on the photo, but it's just something to know. Let's go over 4 reasons why you might want to shoot at a higher ISO. The first one is your shutter speed is as low as it can go in the circumstance, so is your aperture, and you don't have a flash. So you're gonna boost that ISO. I did that before I had a flash, and I would get home and be like, oh my gosh, my photos are so grainy, this looks terrible, but I had no other choice. I didn't know enough to know in my head, like, okay, it's too dark, we need to stop photos, or we should have started photos earlier, whatever it was. So you make do with what you have. The second reason you might want to shoot at a high ISO is you want to. You decided you don't care if your photos are grainy, in fact, you kind of like it. I find that to be very unlikely that you would want that. It's not like film grain. It's not cute. The third reason you might want to shoot at a high ISO, you did it by accident. So you actually didn't want to. It was just a whoopsies. Maybe you accidentally bumped your ISO to auto, done that, or you just turned it right up. Now, the fourth reason you might want to shoot with high ISO is because you love the ambient environmental light, and you need to have a slightly higher shutter, you want a slightly slower aperture, whatever it is, you have to capture what you're seeing, and you can't use a flash. You have no other option. This is not a tripod scenario. An example might be like street photography. I think that's one where you want to see like the neon signs, you want to see the people, but you don't want to interrupt it with a flash, and you need to have a higher shutter speed so that you capture people moving. And so the issue isn't a slower shutter speed to bring in more light. You just have to raise that ISO. Remember though, if you shoot at a high ISO, you didn't mean to, or maybe you did, to fix that grain. I've been super impressed with Lightroom and Photoshop. They have increased the capabilities of AI to understand noise and to clear it up. And so it's actually gotten very good. It takes a while to process currently. So it's not something you'd want to do for like a full gallery. It'd probably take a very long time, but it's totally worth it. Guys, that concludes our video on ISO and is our third video in the Shooting in Manual series. So I hope you enjoyed learning about that, and it helps you feel like you have a little bit more control and understanding going into your photography, whatever style that may be. If you have questions, please comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. Thanks so much for watching, and have an awesome day.